Couple things today. One, I slammed my middle finger in a door, and luckily I was able to find a shade of turquoise guitar that matches the color that the fingernail is slowly starting to turn. And two, you've been playing minor chords wrong this whole time, and we're going to make it way easier, and it's going to be a lot more fun, and we're going to talk about why it's more fun. Okay, so I just got back from Summer NAMM, right? And I was hanging out with the GOAT, the greatest of all time guitar teacher, Marty Schwartz, and he introduced me to his teacher, Chris, who also has a YouTube channel, which I'm going to link you to because you should definitely check out. Super educated, awesome guy. And we were talking chord progressions together, right? And we were talking about minor 11 chords specifically, and something that I never ever paid any attention to until I started playing a lot of live gigs. And now pretty much any time I play a minor chord, I'll play it as a minor 11 chord. And that conversation got me thinking, like, why do I do that? So I'm going to talk about why you might find some value in using minor 11 chords more often. I've talked about this stuff in the past, but never in as coherent a way as how I kind of think my style lends it to, and just kind of like my philosophy on why minor 11 chords are the superior way to play minor chords, okay? So let's talk about the voicing first, all right? First we're gonna replace an A minor triad, like this, with an A minor 11 chord, like this, okay? So again, the A is going to be the bass note, the root note, which I think is a great way to kind of approach how we hear chords, because on a guitar, the lowest note, the bass note, has almost kind of like an importance that cannot be overstated, right? Kind of like how important it is to have clean-looking fingernails when you operate a YouTube guitar channel. But don't worry about that. This will be falling off soon, so bear with me, guys. So the A on the E string is the 5th fret, okay? So here's our root note. Then we're going to grab ring finger, 5th fret on the D string, pinky 5th fret on the G string, and your pointer finger is grabbing that 11, making it an A minor 11. We're adding a D to an A minor chord, okay? Now again, you can get into semantics like, well, this isn't an A minor 7 add 11, whatever. A minor 11 chord, right? This is the gist of it. This chord is so easy to pivot off of into other chords. So we'll do a few examples with this first, right? We're gonna say this is in the people's key, the key of G, all right? So this is the 2 chord in the key of G, A minor. We can always turn an A minor triad into an A minor 11. A great movable shape that you can move around very easily within this key. This chord would fall where the minor chords fall in a key on the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th degrees, okay? So in the people's key, the key of G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, then back to G. 7 different notes, 7 different chords. If you don't know about that, check out the Patreon. I go into detail about all that. All that means is we can put this minor 11 chord on the 2nd note in the key of G, G, A. There's the 5th fret. We can do the 3rd note, which is B. Everything moves 2 frets higher. And then the 6th note, which is E. So just go down to the octave, the double dot right here. Okay, so same chord voicing, 3 different root notes right there. You can really play some cool minor blues just with this. Just kind of go back and forth like that, right? It's a great way to kind of just track root notes with one shape that moves all over the place, all right? So first I'm going to talk about why I think that this is the reasons I think that I pivoted into using this for all the minor triads that I usually play. And then we're going to talk about some different things that you can do from there, all right? So, what makes this sound better to my ear than this? A minor triad, A minor 11, okay? So an A minor triad, usually, on top you might get the E on top, that open E string, or maybe it's the C on top, right? But it's one of those 3 notes, A, C, or E, that's on top. When I play the triad, or to go to the minor 11, now I have a D on top, which would be like the 11th note if we went through the A minor scale. Twice around we get that 11th note. Trust me on that one. That D is the 11 there, right? Okay, so what's so cool, what's so interesting about that to me? Well, I am a contrarian, and my least favorite sound, aside from Rob Thomas's solo albums, is the sound of a 1-4-5. Okay, so in G that would be like a G, C, D, Rob Thomas, right? So that's G, C, D, kind of basic, tried and true, not hating on it. It's just, you know, I'm an artist, guys. I like to mix it up a little bit. So I don't really love the sound of a 5 major to 1. That's very predictable, but as centuries, millennia, millions of years have taught us, the sound of a 5 to 1 is just like a very important piece of music, right? It's just an important way to like have a movement, push a progression in a certain way. So I think when I have an A minor 11 with that D on top, it plays the role of the 5 chord to get me back home. So a G to a D to a G, or a G to an A minor 11 to a G. See how that resolves in a similar way, but a much more artistic way. Show them how sensitive you are, guys. That's what the girls are looking for. Right there. Right here? No, that's not sensitivity vibes. Basic, right? So, that's one reason. Another reason I think is this actual specific voicing, right? The beautiful thing about these E string rooted voicings that are maybe closed voicings that are movable shapes is a lot of times you may notice that you're skipping the A string, or maybe like you're muting the A string with your fretting hand, right? And even if that A is in it, as it is with the A minor 11, a lot of times to make it movable, we just play the E, D, G, and B strings, right? So let's take the A actually out of here and see what we're left with, okay? We actually have the 5th fret on the D string, the G string, the 3rd fret on the B string, right? So we have a G note, a C note, and a D note. G, C, D. Well, again, taking the A out of there, remember that A had so much importance as a bass note or a root note. Once we're left with just the top end of that chord, this is actually a suspended 4 chord. Okay, maybe you've actually seen this before in the lower register of the guitar, right? There's that tried and true G major chord. Well, if you've ever maybe put your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string and just played like right there, there's a G, a C, and a D. There's a suspended chord that kind of gives like a mysterious kind of feeling that's just begging to go back to that major triad. Okay, so when we get down here and we just take this, another reason it's begging us to go home is because we're so close to this triad shape, this, F-shaped triad on a G right here from there. So again, A minor 11, home to G, okay? And in fact, this is going to lead me into my next point of how is this really easy to pivot off of this. If you're one of these jazz beatniks out there, you love that 2, 5, 1. It's super easy to do from this shape. I really think that leading with your middle finger and then having your ring finger and your pinky kind of together here is really just like perfect for going into either other chord shapes, other chord voicings, or even maybe just like different scale shapes, pentatonic stuff, which we're going to demonstrate in a second, okay? So, right here, if we think of this as the 2 chord in the key of G, right, G major, there's our 2 chord. The 5 chord is a D. Since we're not basic, we're going to hit that 5 chord with the dominant 9, which again, look how easy that is. I barely have to move my deformed, disgusting middle finger. It's not fungus. I swear, I slammed it in a door. It was exceedingly painful. It was so painful that like I couldn't make a sound. They're like, did you scream? Did you cry, Sean? How did you survive? I slammed to the door and I was like, have you ever had something hurt so bad that you try to scream but no noise comes out? That's how bad it hurt. But I'm a warrior. Sucked it up. Sucked it up after that. Now I'm just complaining to thousands of people on YouTube. That's my style, guys. So there's the 2 chord to the 5, dominant 9. Again, super easy pivot there. You can just see I don't even really have to move my wrist at all. I can just kind of move my fingers there. I'm pivoting around that middle finger. I'm dropping it down a string, having my ring finger kind of drop with it to grab the 5th fret on the top 3 strings, and then having my pointer finger kind of just come down diagonal 1 to get the 4th fret of the D string. So 5, 4, 5, 5, 5 on the bottom, making that the 5 chord in the key of G, a D9, and then we can raise it right back up into the 1, right? So a 2, 5, 1. Okay, so I never really played 2-5-1s in my songs. I just like saying 2-5-1 because it makes it sound like I have jazz credit. All right, everyone, stay on the lookout for more jazz credit, jazz extra credit. actually, is what I'm always looking to get. 'Cause I'm very bookish, and I love making no money, so I'm always on the lookout for jazz extra credit. 2, 5, 1, okay? So, aside from just that being like a practical way that you can see in like tons of different songs, tons of different chord progressions, let's actually practice just taking this A minor 11 chord and then transitioning to other chords around here, okay? So again, another place we said that we could use this chord is on the 6th chord in any key, okay? The relative minor in the key of G would be E. So all you have to do is find the 12th fret, right? So there's E minor 11, all right? Now, one thing that is really popular in a lot of great songs, specifically songs that I write, is a descending chord progression, maybe like a 6-5-4, okay? So if we go from 6 to here, I can kind of pivot a little bit and then get that dominant. There's the 6 chord into like a 5 chord into a 4 chord, right? So you're kind of setting everything up here and then just kind of pivoting right there. You can even kind of keep your pinky there. I like to kind of keep it there and then open it up like that to that D7 chord to C. Okay, so that's just one example of going from here to here to here pretty quickly, because having it be 2 frets behind, I think is actually interesting to think about, like where it's a whole step back from your root note. So you can really just kind of drop your pointer finger up into another shape, right? And then I think that kind of finger acrobatics is like super, super helpful, because once you can start doing that where you're moving all your fingers at once, it makes any kind of chord transition a lot easier, right? Another thing that you could do like from here, if like this is thinking of wherever you are in a chord progression, is moving it back and forth. So from A minor to B minor, the 2 chord to the 3 chord, okay? Right there. So all I did is did the same chord progression, or the same chord voicing from the 2 chord, A minor 11, to the 3 chord, B minor 11, and then I can keep these fingers paired and then bring that back to the 4th fret on the D and G string, and that lines me up to get back home in another interesting way, right? That's 2, 3, 1. Notice how we're never playing a D major triad again. We're artists. Keep telling yourself that. 3, 2, 1. The last thing I want to go over is maybe just how you can run these into their corresponding pentatonic shapes, which, because since this is the same voicing that you can put on all 3 of these minor chord spots, it's going to correspond to all 3 of the minor pentatonic chord spots. You could always just use, the tried and true minor pentatonic shape. So let's go from A minor again, and then we're thinking melodically. So remember, the melody is usually on top. Here it is. That whole step is always something you can do. Something like that, right? So where I'm thinking my pointer finger, I know that I can get that whole step, because again, that would be like a minor 7 chord. So I always know that a whole step farther from my 11, whether I want to slide it or hammer on or however I want to get there, that's always fair game in any of these spots. And then you can start doing like licks. Like maybe if I want to get, maybe just go back through that tried and true pentatonic position that is all burned into our skulls since before you even pick up a guitar, right? So that whole step slide or hammer on, and then 3 frets higher from there, and then just kind of do whatever minor pentatonic. Why do I laugh every time that bluesy? I like sarcastically laugh at myself, probably out of some kind of deep insecurity, but every time I do that, I make a weird face, like I'm feeling it because I'm faking it, and then I laugh at myself. You don't have to do that part. That's kind of a me thing. I don't want to put that on you guys. But again, got me thinking why I love minor 11 chords. These are just a few great reasons. Other than that, it just really is so much easier than a bar chord, right? A minor triad bar chord or A minor 7 bar chord. It really, I think the main reason that I started doing this live is just because it saves wear and tear on your hand. You don't have to like really bar anything. This is as easy strength-wise, dexterity-wise as playing a regular A minor open triad. You just kind of gotta maneuver a little bit more, and it sets you up for a lot of cool different things, right? So, definitely, thanks for checking it out. Like I said, go check out my man Chris's channel. Shout out, cool guy. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.